Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. My name is Megan and I'm the witch here around the cauldron. In today's video, I'm going to give you 5 tips on asking better tarot questions or having better tarot readings. Before we begin, I have a little disclaimer. As always, this is the way that I do it. These are tips specific to me and my personal advice to anyone else that is looking to get more out of their tarot readings. If it doesn't work for you or this isn't how you work with the cards, that's okay. Take what you want and leave what you don't. These tips I feel like will work for just about any type of cartomancy, so any divination with cards, tarot, oracle, regular playing cards. It could potentially work for other divination methods such as runes and ogham. I think the only one that it probably wouldn't work for would be a pendulum, because that has like yes or no questions, or you use a pendulum board. So let's get right into it. My first tip for asking better tarot questions is to ask open-ended questions. I find it very difficult to answer questions with tarot that have a yes or no answer, or that have a very specific time frame as an answer. Questions such as, will I get married this year? That's a yes or no question. That can be reframed to something like, what do I need to know in order to find love this year? I think that's a better question to ask when it comes to reading tarot or oracle cards. Open-ended questions leave so much more room for interpretation and room for more information to come through the cards rather than just yes or no. And for some people, such as myself, it might be difficult for you to interpret a card in a yes or no position unless you're using a very specific method. So I think asking open-ended questions leaves it open, open-ended, for more information and a better answer to the question that you asked. The second tip is to be specific, but don't be too specific, which is kind of a conundrum, I guess. But the way that I look at it is you have a time frame, right? You have a timeline, and you need to know about a certain section on that timeline. You don't want to ask about the entire timeline, right? But you also don't want to ask about one particular day on the timeline, because if you ask about too much information, you might get an answer that doesn't exactly fit with what you are needing to know. But if you ask too little, then the same thing. You're not going to get an answer for the question that you need to know, or it can be so specific that it's difficult to interpret. So sticking with the idea of a timeline, there is a difference between asking the question of, will I ever get married, versus will I get married in 2 months, versus going back with the open-ended question, what can I do to move my romantic life in the direction that I want? That's a better question, because you know the direction that you want to go, and there are certain steps that you're going to need to go in that direction. Now, the first question, will I ever get married, is way too broad, way too big of a timeline. The second question, will I get married in, I think I said 2 months, is too small. As the third question leaves the answer open, but also in a specific enough way that you're gonna get an answer to your question that's going to benefit you rather than confuse you or just not answer your question at all. The third tip that I have is to leave room for change. And this goes for your reading, but also in your own mind, because I believe that things are always changing. I don't believe in fate and that we all have predetermined steps that we're going to take throughout our lives. So while we may ask a question of the cards, we need to leave room for change, leave room in our minds that things can change. And sometimes things aren't going to turn out the way that the cards said they would, and that's okay. And that goes into my next tip, is to have an open mind. When we read the cards, this is why I don't read the cards when I'm in a heightened state of emotion, because then it's impossible for me to have an open mind because I already know what I want to hear, right? We need to have an open mind when we read the cards and we ask a question because we're either connecting to divinity or we're connecting to our subconscious. And sometimes we're not going to understand what it is that we're seeing in the cards. So having an open mind means being open to receiving answers that may not make sense right in that moment. This happens to me a lot, where I'm shuffling my cards and I'm thinking of my question and I ask my question and I pull a card and I'm like, what the heck does that even mean? Why? That card makes no sense. But having an open mind, I make note of the card, I write down what the card means and how I feel about it and what I'm getting from it intuitively. And then I leave it at that and I let it be exactly how it is. And then I'll come back to it later to reflect on it and say, was it right? Was it wrong? Do I understand it now? And really being open to the possibility that that answer may not be the one that I wanted to hear, but it was the one that I needed to hear. And then my last tip for you is to watch out for confirmation bias. Confirmation bias basically means that you're looking for the answers that you want to hear. And that's the only thing that you're looking for. And again, for me personally, this is why I try to avoid reading the cards when I'm in a heightened emotional state. When things are just going everywhere, or I'm angry, or I'm upset, or I'm really sad, I try not to read the cards then. Or if I do, I make it a point to read the card, make note of the card, and then leave it alone. Because I may go looking for the answer that I want to hear in that card, no matter what it is. And so again, this also connects with having an open mind. You have to be able to read the cards in a way that's going to benefit you. But always looking for an answer that you want instead of the answer you need isn't going to benefit you at all. And confirmation bias doesn't just exist within divination. It also exists in spell work and even outside of witchcraft in like scientific spaces or political spaces even. Confirmation bias doesn't help anyone. So when you're reading the cards, make sure that you're watching out for that. Make sure that you're not just searching for the answer that you want and doing multiple readings even just to get the answer you want. I've seen this with people online who ask people for readings or who pay for readings. They don't get the answer they want, so they say, oh, that one didn't resonate with me, so I'm going to go get another one. Oh, that one didn't resonate with me, I'm going to go get another one. And it happens more often than you think. And we really need to watch out for that within ourselves when we read the cards for ourselves, but especially if we're reading the cards for other people. If I know that someone has come to me for a reading after going to 3 or 4 other people for the same question, I might refuse their reading because that's a red flag for me. So those are my 5 tips for you to have a better divination session with your tarot cards, oracle cards, or whatever sort of cartomancy or divination method you're using. Ask open-ended questions, be specific but not too specific, leave room for change, have an open mind, and watch out for that confirmation bias. If you have any more questions about tarot or divination, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Any video suggestions, I will gladly take them. If you would like to hang out online with a group of witchy individuals plus myself, feel free to join my forum. The link for that will be in the description below. Thank you to all of the members that help support the channel and keep everything going the way it is. If you would like to help support the work that I do and get bonus perks and exclusives, you can find that link in the description below. Bonuses include a members-only podcast, members-only sections of the forum, guided meditations, spells, priority questions answered or conversations with me, and different things like that. You can find all that information at roundthecauldron.com/join me. And yeah, sign up for my newsletter, follow me on social media. All of those links are in the description below. If you would like to get a tarot reading by me, I now have several different types in my shop, shop.roundthecauldron.com. I would love to read for you if that's something that you would like. And yeah, until then, I will see you next time. Bye.